The fuel you choose dictates how quickly you age. Nothing impacts your stability, energy, and overall resilience more profoundly than carbohydrates. For 2 decades, we have been conditioned to fear carbs, but that fear is outdated. The problem is not the presence of carbohydrates in your diet. The problem is selecting the wrong ones. Cutting the wrong carbohydrates leaves you fatigued, irritable, and craving sweets. Including the right four could dramatically stabilize your system and add years of predictable, steady energy. The confusion, however, is rampant. We are told to eat whole grains, yet many foods labeled whole grain are the biggest saboteurs of a senior metabolism. We are diving into the definitive science of resistant starch today, and we will expose 4 carbohydrate sources that are actively accelerating the aging process in men over 60. Then, we will give you 4 simple replacements that dramatically slow that process down. To truly understand the stakes, we have to talk about the blood sugar reality for seniors. As we move into our 60s and 70s, our cells naturally become less responsive to insulin. This is a normal part of aging. We simply don't clear glucose out of the bloodstream as quickly as we used to. That means a poor carbohydrate selection slams your system harder and keeps your blood sugar elevated longer than it would in your younger years. But why should you care about a prolonged daily sugar spike? Because later, we will reveal the specific, critical study that directly linked these frequent, pronounced glucose spikes not just to chronic illness, but to accelerated cognitive decline in men over 65. If you want to protect your energy and your brain function for decades to come, this information is not optional. It is the data you need to stabilize your entire metabolic system. If you value this type of rigorous, evidence-based, and practical health information designed specifically for active men, please take a moment to subscribe right now. We post content rigorously tested against the latest research, specifically designed to keep you sharp and moving for the long haul. Let's start with the 4 primary carbohydrate sources that are actively working against your longevity. These are the carbs that deliver a rapid metabolic crash half an hour later and often hide in plain sight. The first major saboteur is instant oatmeal and instant flavored oat products. This is the great breakfast deception. For decades, traditional rolled oats were the standard for heart health. But the speed of the cook time tells you everything about the instant variety. Instant oatmeal is highly processed. The oat structure has been pulverized so completely that your body barely needs to work to digest it. It is metabolized almost as quickly as simple table sugar. When you consume a small packet of instant oats, especially those with added fruit or flavor packets, you are flooding your system with refined starch. The glycemic load is extremely high. While traditional intact steel-cut oats offer a slow, controlled release of energy, the instant variety leads to a rapid blood sugar spike followed by the inevitable crash, leaving you hungry, tired, and reaching for coffee an hour later. If this is your morning routine, you are setting yourself up for an entire day of energy inconsistency. The simple action here, look at the preparation time. If it cooks in under 5 minutes, it is too processed for optimal senior metabolic health. Our next hurdle is the massive variety of highly refined, processed breakfast cereals. This category includes many items surprisingly marketed as whole grain, low fat, or heart healthy. When you examine a cereal box and the ingredients list includes multiple forms of sugar, high fructose corn syrup, or highly refined white flours, you are looking at a metabolic challenge. Why are these flake and puff cereals so damaging? The problem is complex. First, they are often extruded at high heat and pressure, which physically destroys much of the natural fiber structure. Second, they lack density. They are mostly air and fast-acting starch. This combination provides zero lasting satiety. They are designed to be addictive and digested quickly. While you might be getting a small amount of fortified vitamins, you are paying for them with chronic inflammation and a steep insulin response. Is there any processed cereal that works? Very few. If you cannot clearly identify the original grain shape, it is likely too refined. The rule of thumb, if the cereal dissolves quickly in milk, it will dissolve even quicker in your digestive system, spiking your sugar fast. We must demand whole, intact grains. Our third carbohydrate to minimize is the one that most frequently confuses the health-conscious senior: fruit juices, even those proudly labeled 100% pure. Many men grab a glass of orange or apple juice thinking they are quickly getting essential vitamins. You are getting vitamins, yes, but you are also getting a rapid dose of concentrated fruit sugar, fructose, and glucose, with none of the essential, protective fiber that whole fruit provides. Fiber is the necessary buffer for sugar absorption. When you eat an entire apple, the fiber forms a slowing mesh in your stomach, metering the absorption of sugar into your bloodstream. When you drink a glass of apple juice, that mesh is entirely gone. The liquid sugar rushes directly to the liver. This forces an immediate, sharp response from your pancreas. For a system already struggling with insulin sensitivity, this is an unnecessary burden. The immediate action item: if you want the health benefits of fruit, eat the whole fruit. Drink water instead of juice. The fourth major saboteur is the most common in the modern diet: modern, highly processed white flour and most commercial baked goods. We are not talking about dense, slow-fermented artisan sourdough, which is different. We are talking specifically about the soft, pliable commercial white bread, the standard hamburger buns, tortillas, and the vast majority of commercial crackers made with enriched white flour. These products are the absolute epitome of high glycemic load, with almost no nutritional value remaining. The intense processing strips the wheat of its bran and germ, removing almost all beneficial vitamins, minerals, and, most importantly, the slowing fiber. What remains is a pure starch that converts to glucose in your body almost instantly. For a senior metabolism that struggles with efficient sugar clearance, this constant intake of quick-hit refined flour creates chronic, low-grade inflammation throughout the body and severely compromises long-term insulin sensitivity. Think of this as putting low-grade fuel into a precision engine. It runs, but it gums up the works, leading to unnecessary maintenance issues down the road. The takeaway: minimize all commercial baked goods and soft white breads. Seek out breads made with 100% stone-ground whole grain flour, or even better, sprouted grains, which offer a much slower release profile. Now, let's pivot entirely. The goal is not deprivation. The goal is to shift your fuel source to one that provides stability, protects your gut, and actively fights inflammation. We must stop viewing carbs as a threat and start viewing them as an opportunity for longevity. The essential scientific concept we must embrace is resistant starch. Resistant starch is precisely what it sounds like: a type of starch that resists digestion in the small intestine. Why is this a powerful benefit? Because the starch passes through undigested until it reaches the large intestine. There, it acts as the most powerful fuel for your healthy gut bacteria. This process of fermentation by gut flora creates essential compounds known as short-chain fatty acids, specifically butyrate. Butyrate is absolutely vital. It is the primary fuel for the cells lining your colon, reducing inflammation, strengthening your gut barrier, and significantly improving overall insulin sensitivity throughout your body. This is true longevity fuel. If you manage to consistently optimize your intake of resistant starch, you fundamentally stabilize your energy levels, greatly reduce chronic cravings, and provide a huge non-negotiable boost to your immune system. Here are the 4 categories of carbohydrates you should actively include in your daily routine. The first 2 are the foundation of any metabolic longevity diet: lentils and beans. These are carbohydrate powerhouses cleverly disguised as fiber bombs. Legumes, including black beans, chickpeas, kidney beans, and lentils, offer an unparalleled combination of balanced protein, essential micronutrients, and high amounts of soluble fiber and true resistant starch. When you eat a half cup of lentils, the carbohydrate content is metabolized incredibly slowly, primarily due to the dense fiber matrix. This provides a gentle, long-lasting energy release that prevents those detrimental spikes and crashes. For men looking to stabilize their weight, improve their digestion, and lower their cholesterol markers, beans and lentils are non-negotiable first-line nutritional therapy. They are inexpensive, versatile, and scientifically linked to profound improvements in cardiovascular health. The practical step: aim for 3 to 4 servings of legumes per week. Use them to replace ground meat occasionally in chili, toss them cold into salads, or simply enjoy a simple bowl of lentil soup. Remember, start small and increase slowly to allow your digestive system to adapt to the new fiber load. The third and often most surprising inclusion is cold-cooked potatoes or rice. This is where we leverage the fascinating science of food chemistry known as retrogradation. When you cook starchy foods like potatoes, pasta, or white rice, and then allow them to cool completely, ideally for 12 to 24 hours in the refrigerator, the internal chemical structure of the starch fundamentally changes. It transforms into resistant starch type 3. A significant portion of that rapidly digestible starch becomes literally resistant to your digestive enzymes. The structure hardens. This means a cold potato or cold rice has a dramatically lower glycemic load than when it was served hot right out of the pot. This is critical because it offers a scientifically valid path back to enjoying some staple foods without the metabolic penalty of a severe spike. This doesn't mean eating rock-cold leftovers. You can and should gently reheat the cold starch, but you must avoid aggressive high-heat methods like deep frying or microwaving for too long, which can partially reverse the resistant starch formation. The specific action: cook a large batch of rice or potatoes on Sunday. Refrigerate overnight. Use them throughout the week for a simple potato salad, or gently reheat the rice with vegetables for a side dish. You are transforming a standard starch into protective fiber simply by mastering the temperature change. The fourth essential inclusion is authentic whole grains, specifically steel-cut oats and farro. Again, note the contrast with the instant oats we dismissed earlier. Steel-cut oats are the least processed form of the grain. They require a significant cooking time, often 20 to 30 minutes, because their entire fiber structure remains robustly intact. This intact structure is your key to longevity. It takes your digestive system time and effort to break down the dense grain. The energy release is therefore sustained, stabilizing blood sugar for hours, not minutes. Farro, barley, and true whole wheat berries operate on the same principle. They require patience in preparation, but deliver immense metabolic benefits and long-lasting satiety. If you are buying oats, the clearer indicator of quality is density and chewiness. If your morning oats require real, focused chewing and feel substantial, you've picked a winner. If they turn to mush immediately upon adding water, they are too refined and belong on the exclusion list. Let's quickly address the reality of increasing resistant starch. Many seniors worry about gas, bloating, and discomfort when drastically increasing fiber. This is a common and normal reaction. It is a sign that your gut bacteria are adapting and thriving on the new fuel source. You must introduce these foods slowly. Don't go from 0 beans to a bowl every day. Start with a quarter cup and let your body adjust over 2 weeks. Consistency matters much more than initial quantity.
Another common question is about portion size. Do we need massive servings of these beneficial carbs? Absolutely not. When you choose quality, resistant starch, and high fiber, you need smaller portions to feel completely satiated. Always combine your carbohydrate source with a high-quality protein and a healthy fat. For example, pairing lentils with olive oil and a piece of chicken further slows absorption and provides superior sustained energy. Never eat carbs alone. We also need to consider timing for optimal energy and sleep. While many common diet plans suggest eating carbs earlier in the day, consuming a modest portion of high-fiber, resistant starch carbs like beans or cooled rice later in the evening may actually assist in a better night's sleep and significantly improve your morning fasting glucose levels. This is because the resistant starch feeds the beneficial gut flora throughout the night, stabilizing your system while you rest. Experiment with timing to see what works best for your personal sleep patterns. Now, let's return to the critical piece of research we mentioned at the start, the one linking high blood sugar spikes directly to brain aging. The study demonstrated that non-diabetic individuals who experienced frequent, pronounced peaks in blood sugar throughout the day, even if their 3-month average glucose was technically normal, showed clear markers of accelerated brain atrophy and significantly higher risks for cognitive impairment than those with stable, predictable blood sugar. This is a critical finding. It is not just the overall average number that matters. It is the sheer velocity and height of the spike itself. This scientific finding makes the difference between the 4 foods to avoid and the 4 to include absolutely vital for your future cognitive health. The highly refined carbohydrates, the instant oats, the soft white bread, the juice, are chemically designed to create massive, rapid spikes. The resistant starches, the beans, the cooled rice, the steel-cut oats, are specifically designed to prevent them. They provide the slow, steady energy flow that protects your brain cells and maintains your cognitive sharpness over the long term. If you are committed to longevity, you must shift your mindset. Carbs are not the enemy. Speed is the enemy. Slowing down the absorption of your fuel is the single most important dietary adjustment you can make today for sustained energy and mental clarity. The easiest action you can take this week is to swap out just one of the 4 saboteurs for one of the 4 longevity fuels. Ditch the sugary, instant oatmeal tomorrow morning and instead prepare a small serving of steel-cut oats, or try a simple bowl of black bean soup for lunch. Start small, be consistent, and observe the immediate change in your energy levels. This is the power of simple, evidence-based data applied consistently. No miracle claims, just better fuel for a demonstrably better metabolism. If you found the science and the highly practical takeaways in this video valuable and immediately actionable, please click the like button. It's how we measure success and how we know to prioritize more of this science-backed health information for our active viewers. And if you want to make sure you never miss the practical adjustments and deep dives that keep men in motion sharp and well-informed, subscribe right now and hit the notification bell. Your body is a remarkable machine that deserves high-quality, slow-burning fuel. Make the swap today and enjoy the sustained energy and mental clarity you've been missing.